SMT Nation, we back. Nation, I found this article and it really got the wheels turning. All right, I started thinking about so many different things with respect to the United States mobile network operators and other telcos. So I'm going to kind of cover some of the stuff that's in the article, offer you my commentary, and then kind of spin off a couple of ideas that I kind of crossed my mind. All right, so article will be linked in the description. Also in the description is the real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link. If you appreciate your creators and want to support them directly, that's one way you could do it. And then also you can check out our partner, Mint Mobile, if you're looking for a great deal on wireless service and you want great customer care, you got those high expectations, Mint Mobile is the answer. Use our partner link, save money, and you'll be helping out the channel in that at the same time. So thank you for those considerations. Now moving on to the article titled Telcos Need to Build Businesses as Well as Networks. This is from Robert Clark, who's a news analyst at, actually I'm not sure where he's from, but he's a contributor to Light Reading. So elements from this article really interesting. Here's the basic crux of this article. U.S. telcos, all telcos probably globally as well, many of them are probably suffering from the same issues. They are completely overinvested in 5G in every sense of the phrase. That's the quote here in this article. All right, so basically what we're starting to see is carriers are dumping so much money into these networks. All right, so let's do an inventory. For the last several years, including this one, Verizon has been spending $17, $18 billion annually in their standard operational, or I should say, capital spending. On top of that, Verizon has also been spending, on dedicated C-band build, an additional $10 billion over 3 years. On top of what they're doing in their OpEx, right? And on top of spending money on Spectrum, which they spent like $30-40 billion, right? They've spent on mmWave, they spent on mid-band. That's just Verizon. What about AT&T, whose CapEx has been over $21-22 billion for consecutive years, right? And they have also spent almost $30 billion in mid-band spectrum, or approaching $40 billion, right? And then, you look at the CapEx and the network upgrading and the FirstNet, getting all the Band 14 built out across country. T-Mobile, who historically was the lowest spender, right, amongst the big four, and then Sprint was gone, right? They even flirted with $13-14 billion CapEx. They can't take it anymore, right? They are all going to be reducing their CapEx moving forward, and from a business standpoint, you can't blame them. For the first time in a long time, right? I think ever, actually, right? U.S. carriers, at least we could speak to them, saw service revenues decrease by 7%, right? And you think about like post-pandemic, and it's crazy because device sales are growing, so you would expect service revenues to increase, but they've decreased. And don't forget, that is the bread and butter of these telco companies, right? That's where 90% of their revenues are coming from, is from service revenues, right? So with capital intensity reaching almost 18% Q3 2022, up from an all-time high 1 year prior at 16.8%. And what has 5G really achieved? It really only two things. Additional capacity for mobile network, users, right? So you can basically give people better speeds more of the time. And then fixed wireless. Now for AT&T, it's one less of those things, right? They don't really do fixed wireless. That's more of like a Verizon and T-Mobile thing. But it appears, and this is what the article states, this has been a problem since the 3G era. Huge investments into the network, but the ROI, the return on investment, or ROIC, I should say, return on invested capital, it really has not provided the big returns that the carriers are looking for, especially shareholders who are likely putting their hands out saying, where's my dividends? Where's my synergies? Where's my return on invested capital, right? And where's my share value as a shareholder? All right, so this article basically says, the telcos need to worry about their business, right? The fundamentals of business, which is profitability, margins. And generating revenues and having free cash flow, and it has not panned out up to this point. So here's what I'm projecting, or I'm predicting. I think in order for this to pay out, for Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Dish, whomever is building out networks, they're going to require at least 2, if not 3, slam dunk home runs for their 5G networks. And I'm talking about use cases. And those use cases are going to have to come from 2 different places. It is going to have to come from business customers, so like enterprise and business, and it is going to have to come also from the consumer side. There are going to have to be applications and use cases that are going to demand a 5G use. Otherwise, when are they going to get this return on invested capital? It won't happen. There must, and who knows what those things are going to be. I'm not proposing what those 5G use cases are, but I'm proposing the carriers will need at least 2 or 3 new 5G related use cases on both the business side and also the consumer side. Or else, what are we talking about here, folks? The carriers are spending annually tens of billions of dollars. And if all we can say is their service revenues are flat, then it is a losing proposition. And these carriers probably feel like they might as well just close their doors and lock and walk away from the whole thing. You can't keep raising prices on service revenues. You know, customers, you've seen the pushback. They start looking at prepaid, and that messes with margins. And I mean, what are they supposed to do? What do you guys think? Do you guys think 2 to 3 new unique use cases is enough? But remember, both business and the consumer side, and they could be totally different, right? But I just kind of threw those out there because you're going to need legitimate revenue streams in these 5G use cases to make this all worth it. And don't forget, they have to continue to densify, because moving forward, the frequencies are only getting higher when it comes to the different types of frequency bands. You know, C-band is in the mid 3 gigahertz range, 3-4 gigahertz. You know, we're going to start seeing things like 5-6 gigahertz, 12 gigahertz. You need density. That means more nodes. That means more cell sites, more CRAN. That's more spending. So they're going to have to figure things out. What do you guys think? You think my numbers are accurate? You think something different? I'd love to hear what you have to say on this. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, subscribe for more. Turn on the bell notification icon to never miss an upload. Links are in the description for all things going on with the channel. Big shout out to my YouTube members and patrons for making content on this channel possible. Also, check out the Real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link if you want to support your creators directly. That's one way you could do it. You can also check out our partner, Mint Mobile. The link is in the description, and you can use it, save money on wireless, and help out the channel in the process. Thanks, everybody, for watching. See you all in the next one. Peace.